What's up, guys? Enos here again, bringing you guys another Black Ops 3 video. Got an older gameplay for you. Don't really know what's going to happen in it. I do know it has a pretty decent scoreline in it. Apparently I'm using the Annihilator, and I'm using a class that I want to talk about today. It's one of my favorite TDM classes, I suppose you'd call it. And it works well for Safeguard too, for that matter, but specifically TDM. Now I'm using the Kuda. I'm not a huge fan of the Kuda itself. I just don't like the way it feels. You know, it can be very accurate. It can be a little bit inaccurate, I guess. And right here you guys can see some of the lag that I'm having issues with. That happens at least 4 out of every 5 games. But like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Kuda, but I do very well with it. Like, when I use it, I tend to do very well with it. And you'll see a lot of people use different class setups than I do. This is just one I found that works for me. You can change it up if you'd like, with the attachments and things, but this is one I found works well with me. So like I said, I got the Kuda, number 1. I'm running long barrel, quick draw, and ELO. Now you don't need ELO if you like the iron sights. The iron sights aren't too bad. I can use them, but I do prefer to have the ELO sight if possible. It just helps me on the longer range kills a little bit. So it's not too bad. But like I said, the iron sights are usable if you feel like you would rather do that and have an extra attachment slot to run extended mags. Extended mags is very useful on the Kuda, where it shoots a little slower. A lot of people will have extended mags so they can get into 3 or 4 gunfights without having to reload. I think it gives you like 42 bullets with it, so it's a useful class. Like I said, it's a pretty accurate weapon, so you don't really need grip. If you find you're having issues with it, you could take off the ELO, run grip maybe. Me personally, I don't particularly use grip too much. I don't really feel like I need it. On the random days where my aim's just not all that great, I might use it, but for the most part, I don't really need it too much. So, moving on from that, I have an RK5 in the back pocket. Once again, you can take that off, use it for an extra class slot if you'd like, but I prefer to have it just because the Kuda doesn't have all that much ammo. As you can see, I've already ran out, and I'm using a VMP that I picked up at this point, so it's useful to have something in your back pocket just in case. Most guns only have their magazine and I guess 3 extra magazines. So you've got 120 bullets, which seems like a lot, but when you're going on pretty good sized streaks, it runs out pretty quick. So if you wanted to, you could probably switch or take the RK5 off and maybe even the ELO and not put another attachment on it and put scavenger on that. That might work too. But me, I prefer to just go ahead and throw the RK5 on there and pick up weapons as I find them. Moving on to the perks. Perks, I always run Ghost in TDM. A lot of people will say run Afterburner or Overclock, something like that. I prefer to just run Ghost because a lot of people get UAVs pretty quickly, especially when you end up with teams like I have most of the time where my teams are just straight up awful. The other team's going to have a lot of UAVs. So Ghost is very useful for that. And if you don't know what Ghost does, it just keeps you off the mini-map when you're moving. Now obviously you'll show up if you shoot because you don't have a silencer, but it keeps you off of UAVs if you're moving. You'll be able to see, if you look at the mini-map, when I move, my little triangle kind of fades a little bit. And that is showing that my Ghost is in effect, I suppose. Perk number 2, I've got fast hands on every class I have, assuming that I'm not doing a challenge that requires not to, and I should have had that kill. I just stopped shooting at the guy. But I always run fast hands. I guess you could say that's a crutch perk for me, but it's extremely useful. Helps you aim down sights faster when you're coming out of a sprint, which is extremely useful. It also helps you switch weapons faster, throw grenades and things faster. Very useful perk. I would highly recommend you run that if you don't have it on your classes. It will change the way you play, guaranteed. And for somebody who likes to rush like me, definitely need fast hands. Moving on to perk number 3, or the perk 3 slot anyway, I generally like to run 2 perks. And you can, wow, I just got dumped on. You can interchange these how you want. They're not quite as important, but what I prefer is to run either blast suppressor and dead silence, or just dead silence. Now, a lot of people will say blast suppressor is more useful than dead silence. I think that's a matter of opinion. I prefer dead silence more than blast suppressor. A lot of people, when the game first came out, and even now, if you get into really good lobbies, people will pick up on your blast suppressor. They'll hear it. But me personally, I find that I can get away with not using my boost quite as much. If I'm not using blast suppressor, just don't use it quite as often. Don't be sliding around the map in dumb places, things like that. And for the most part, it works out fairly well. I prefer dead silence simply because it's very annoying to be running around all the time, especially somebody like me that rushes a lot. I'm going to be moving 90% of the time. I hardly ever just post up, but 90% of the time I'm going to be moving. So I hear a lot of my own footsteps, and that can drown out other game sounds and other footsteps and things. And when it comes to all the gunfire in the background and things, and man, I went off with this Annihilator. But when it comes to all the gunfire in the background of things, it can easily drown out other players' footsteps on the other team. So I generally run dead silence because it takes away one of those factors that is already drowning out extra stuff in that I need to hear, so I can have some map awareness, know when somebody's coming behind me, know when somebody's about to turn a corner, so I can pre-aim it, things like that. So I run dead silence for that. I prefer that much more than blast suppressor. Now, like I said, that's kind of objective based, but that's the kind of class that I like to run. Just thought I'd give you guys a little tip. Throw it on, try it out if you haven't. Let me know what you think. It's a pretty standard class, but I do have a good amount of success with it, and I think you guys will too. So try it out, tell me what you think, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time. Peace.